mean, he's supposed to say that. He's the general manager. If he says, oh my God, this guy absolutely stinks, he happens to be our only quarterback technically under contract, but he's terrible, then teams know the Steelers are either desperate for a trade partner, which means you can jack the price up, or are desperate to probably move up in the draft and maybe get Kenny Pickett or somebody like that. So he can't tip his hand too early. I wouldn't read too much into him very lukewarm sort of endorsing Mason Rudolph.
I think one of the best moves they've made in quite some time is bringing in Brian Flores, which came out of nowhere, and I was kind of stunned to see it because normally you hear certain people talk about it. The NFL insiders who get a lot of notifications from headquarters or wherever they get it. But we heard nothing, and all of a sudden he's here. And while a lot of people were surprised, I'm glad they did it because I think this is, from a football perspective, more so than anything else, this is a home run for them. And they needed one after, quite frankly, I mean, Terrell Austin's a good guy, but he was promoted from within, and then Pat Meyer, and nobody knows anything about.
I'd be shocked if Flores is here more than 1 year because I think he's obviously going to do a very good job in his chosen role, and then I think he's going to be right back on the head coaching radar next year. I do love the move by the Steelers from a football perspective. I'm shocked, like you are, that it didn't leak out, which just makes me wonder how it actually came. Like, I mean, this is very close to the best from Mike Tomlin, from Art Rooney. Kevin Colbert sort of said those two guys worked on it themselves, and then he got wind of it, kind of heard about it. Flores, let's be honest here, Bob. He should still have a job in Miami. The first year he was there, it's pretty obvious Stephen Ross didn't want to win. Whether he was making financial incentives available if they didn't win is another story. But Flores' only losing year there is a year where the owner didn't want them to win. The guy is a top half of the NFL head coach, which automatically makes him the best position coach in the entire league by my reckoning. If he turns Devin Bush around in what might be his only year here as a coach, that would be kind of a victory enough. I think it's a phenomenal move. It's an outside the organization hire. It's a big time, brain kind of addition to the staff. And like Kevin Colbert said, and I know I heard this in your sportscast, the guy has a player personnel background too.
Yeah.
So it's really the best of every possible world for the Steelers. Kudos to Mike Tomlin, to Art Rooney for making this maneuver.
Yeah, and their defensive brain trust now is right up there among the elite in the league. And a lot of people wonder here, I noticed on Twitter, Sam S. says, what about this lawsuit? It'll be a distraction. I don't think it will. I think he's going to kind of, whenever he does meet with the media, it'll be, here, this situation's ongoing. I'm not going to comment. It's in my lawyer's hands, and it'll go from there. My issue here is how far will it go? Because, obviously settlements are part of this, but the NFL typically doesn't like to go along into these sort of internal situations, and they will do everything in their power not to get to sort of the discovery stage of this whole proceedings, I would think. But Brian Flores seems motivated to make a statement and want it so that it changes the game. And I don't know how you think, but I think it's going to be curious to watch that aspect of it play out.
Have you ever seen any of these still shots of Brian Flores on game day, just these pictures of his look? Would you want to go against that guy in any kind of battle of wills or intensity? He looks like a tough customer in every way, especially mentally. I think, by the way, Bob, that you're hearing a lot of people happy about this. There's not any rumbling about people going, whoa, what a distraction, because they know how badly it looks like he got jobbed in Miami, jobbed in these head coaching searches with the Belichick text message thing. People have seen this stuff. The NFL might want to make it go away, but really, how are they going to do that when the plaintiff here doesn't seem inclined whatsoever to settle? He wants to take it all the way. If he really is willing to do that, and I think he is, what can they do short of what? Cut Stephen Ross off at the knees and sacrifice him at the altar? That might be two owners because Daniel Snyder might be on his way out. I think this is going to reshape the foundations of the NFL if Flores has as many receipts as he's suggesting that he does.
Yeah, a big burden of proof, however, he has to come up with. Let's go to line one real quick. Randy, make it quick, please. Randy, we're up against the break. How are you?
I'm real good, Bob. Hey, thanks for taking my call. But, hey, I was talking about the quarterback, or thinking about the quarterback situation, Bam being behind and Rudolph coming up and being there, and traffic for the quarterback. I think Rudolph is really good, and I just think you need to stand. But I do think we need to have a quarterback draft, not maybe this year, but maybe next year, just to upcome to the beginning of the future.
Well, first of all, Rudolph is going to be in the mix, but they're going to bring in two other guys. I think that's fair to say. And Chris, before you comment, I got to go to break. We're up against it overtime here. we'll get your comment on that coming back. But there are going to be more people in here. The question is who, and how much experience will those players bring. We'll talk about that when we continue right here. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW 937 The Fan.